Good morning, Earthlings. Okay, now it's early morning and I've had a little study, and I'm going to be talking about a couple of things to do with Elon. Elon? So, in other news, Elon's little mini-me X waddles over to Trump during a press conference to say, "You're not the real president and you need to go away." And later, while Elon was stammering through talking about Doge, Elon's little clone X is up on his daddy's shoulders, and this is all happening in the Oval Office at the White House. And he's leaning towards Trump with his angry little face on, and he's like, "Oh, excuse me. You need to shush. You need to shut your mouth. Shh it. Shush it." Now, while Elon was talking, Trump had indeed stayed silent through the whole press meeting. I've got a lot I want to say, but before I get into the category about these gods, I just want to say this interesting little fact I noticed is when Elon was young and he had his receding hairline, you didn't hear him stammer. But now he stammers a lot, and it reminds me of Moses. I don't know whether he saw the great dragon Yahweh and he can't talk proper anymore, or exactly what, but something has made it so that he's a very stammering person. Now, back into the God categories of the El. We have Elohim, we have El Elyon, we have El, it's supposed to be Shaddai, but I always say Shady, and we have El Olam. So we've got 4 in the Bible that start with El. Excuse me, I've just woken up, it's just breakfast time. So back when the great urbanization began, lots of people from India migrated up into the lands of Persia, coming up the Persian Gulf. That's where we get everything Indo from. We have our Indo-Asians, our Indo-Europeans, our Indo-Aryans. Even we have Indo-Negro. So, obviously, because the Indo is still sort of like the prefix before any other kind of like category, race is mentioned, I think it's safe to say that Indo began a lot of things. And of course, back in the day, they lived in the Indus Valley and they had the big trade centers a long time ago, before the great nuclear war happened. So around that time, right before this nuclear war, the people of India had established places like these urbanizations, right? Urkag, Uk, Nip Sip and Sumer. So those established areas were coming up what is called the Fertile Crescent. Not Babylon, Elon, I just noticed. Now, I just want to go to the timeline. So, the story in the Bible, which is the book of well, let's just put it this way. There's 4 Abrahamic religions. There is the Hebrews, there is the Jews, there is the Christians, and there is the Islamic. They're all Abrahamic religions, so he did create a great religious thing, but it's divided. Now, this religious guy, a Brahmin, he left Ur and was called by God to leave his father's household and go to a land that God will show him. And is this God Elon? I'm just questioning, because it says here, oh, he didn't go by himself, of course. He took his sister Sari, his sister wife, and of course they had their slaves, and they had a bunch of warriors, and his nephew Lot was part of the crew with his wife and his family. And they settled in Bethel first, north of Jeru, an important person of ancient history, Jerusalem, with their massive livestock. Now, Jeru, back in the time, he was a great man, and he had he owned the Dead Sea salt industry, and the, what is that ancient place? Jericho. And Jericho was at the top of the Dead Sea region, and Jerusalem was just a little side. Jeru's peace, was a little side kind of place over here where you used to go to have a holiday. Okay, so anyway, Lot went to the Salt Lake, which is the Dead Sea, to make his fortune, and Sodom is where he was. So along this Dead Sea valley, Dead Sea coast, there was Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zebolim, and Bela. So they had all these different cities where, of course, there was a massive trade route. Salt was used for embalming the dead bodies. It was also considered, it still is, very sacred. It's a purifier. And of course, back in the day and still at this day, it is a big thing for trading. So there was Lot was at Sodom, and the story in the Bible, according to Scripture, says in the valley of Siddim, which is down the bottom of the Dead Sea area, was full of tar pits. And the eastern kings of, so if we go up the Persian Gulf and we come into the urbanization all the way up to what is Babylon up here, and you go over this side, so you've got the Euphrates and the the Tigris, and then on the other side of the Tigris, the eastern side, is where the big land of Elam is, and the other peoples that lived over there, they are Aryan. So it says in the Bible, the eastern kings, Amraphel, Erech, Kedorlaomer, and Tidal. So it says Amraphel was the king of Shinar, and Erech was the king of Elisha, and Kedorlaomer was the king of Elam, and Tidal was the king of the Goyim. Okay, so that's an interesting little thing I found. And we know that the Jews don't like the Goyim, but I studied these 4 kings. I researched. And none of them actually have a real identification. You can't find them in any anything. Nothing, no artifacts that have come out speak about Kedorlaomer, which is Elam, and they've done extensive archaeology there and excuse me so much. So it's a little bit tricky. Now, anyway, so it says here, according to the scriptures, for 12 years, the peoples of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zebulun, and Bela, which is Zor, were subjects of Kedorlaomer. And in the 13th year, they rebelled. 13th year? 13th year of Lot being there? 13th year? I'm not sure. So, there was a fight. And the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zebulun, and Bela rebelled, which would be they wanted their own say in what's going on. They didn't want to be subjected to Elon. It was a takeover, okay? So the Indos came up and created the urbanizations, and they were like bumping out all these urbanized areas. And have I said their names? I hope I did. I did. Uruk, Nipper, Sipper, Sumer. So they created all these great urbanizations, and they were on the big old takeover there. And the kings over to the east there, they were like, what's going on? These guys are just like pumping it. They are not taking over. And they obviously were trying to take over the salt. And at the Dead Sea area, a fight broke out. So the 4 kings, the eastern kings, came over to subdue the 5 kings, the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zebulun, and Bela. And when they did, they captured Lot and his family and his slaves, as well as the 5 kings and all of the peoples. Okay, so everyone was captured. Now, according to the Bible, Abraham took 308 trained men from his household and defeated the 4 kings and got Lot back. So Abraham took 300 men from his household, 318 specifically it says, and obviously they were a very well trained bunch of mercenaries, and they were able to go in and subdue the 4 kings of the east and get all the people back, except for the ones who had run off and fell into the tar pits. So after the battle, Abraham and the king of Sodom, which is Bera, met with the king of Salem. At that time, this is in the future, so it's still called Jerusalem, but Jeru has passed on, and now it's just called Salem, peace, but it's always Jeru's place of peace, his sanctuary was. So they met with the king of Salem, and that king was Melchizedek. So Zedek is his name, Chi means energy, prana, and Mel means king. So Melchizedek, and he brought bread and wine, so that the 3 kings, those 3 kings, which is Abraham and the king of Sodom, and of course Zedek, who is Melchizedek, we have a little bit of a chit chat. So according to the scripture again, Melchizedek blessed, and he said, blessed is Abraham by El Elyon, maker of heaven and earth. Blessed is El Elyon, who has handed your enemies over to you. Now, that is in the original, so it doesn't say our creator, it says maker. So we can't find these kings at all except for in the Bible, and basically people think that it's some sort of a propaganda kind of a thing that was written to scare the people of Babylon when the Israelites were in captivity. But I'm starting to wonder, because of CERN and because of we're able to jump timelines, and because we're into the quantum age now, quantum AI, I mean, time travel is most likely real. Perhaps there is a way that there can be a false matrix of heaven and earth, because we know the world is not real, the world of man, which is like your streets and the, I mean, let's just say it is real, but it's not natural. We know the world is not natural. Yeah. So I'm just going to leave it there, because I'm still pondering quite a lot. I'm not even sure if I will upload this video. But basically what I'm trying to say is Elon's in the White House with his little kid up on his shoulder, his little clone. And his little clone is like so like mini-me, you know. And, you know, is it Dr. Evil? The one what does this? You know, $1 million. Mwahaha. And obviously he's got all the money in the world. He's been given all this money and all this power, because I mean, in real life, who owns a place like SpaceX, and then like Tesla, and then like Neuralink, and then like, you know, what one person? Only the person who is the leader of the New World Order. So he's given all these titles and everything like that. I don't think he's a god. I do think that he's playing God. I do think that he has power. But I don't think it's his own. I think that it can all be taken away from him in a second. I'm not sure how things are going to go next, but I hope everybody catches up and realizes that we're in a technological revolution, and it's going to happen fast. So Trump turned out to be, yes, he was the last president, like some book that was written long ago. And was that book written long ago, or was it a time traveler who put that book out and it has become the past? So yeah, just things that I'm thinking. Okay, much love to everyone. Ka kite.